So we're here today to provide an update on our efforts to effectively distribute the $1.2 billion that Oklahoma has received through the CARES Act, the Coronavirus Relief Act. We just finished our first meeting with the CARES Act Legislative Advisory Committee. We were walking them through the process that we're going to follow on how to distribute this money across the state. We also formed the CARES Forward team. That includes experts from every major sector that has been affected by COVID-19. These folks will play a critical role in maximizing the opportunities for investing federal dollars in relief and forward planning, and on ensuring the money is spent in compliance with the law and the guidance provided by the United States Treasury. I'm also excited to announce we are one of the first states to officially launch our online portal for our state agencies, our cities, our counties to submit requests for reimbursements. This platform will also allow us to effectively and transparently process reimbursement requests and get help to communities in need of financial relief for any COVID-19 related expenses. Right now, we are asking all cities and counties who have COVID-19 related expenses to set up an account so they can submit reimbursement requests and carefully review the guidance from the U.S. Treasury. To be eligible, these expenses must be caused by COVID-19. They must have occurred between March 1st of this year and December 30th and cannot have been in the budget as of the end of March. Our goal is to formally begin processing these requests by June 1st. Our mission is to maximize all federal dollars available during this unprecedented time and to ensure this money is spent with integrity on COVID-19 related expenses, emergencies, and pandemic preparedness. The members of our federal delegation have worked tirelessly to get these funds across the finish line, and I want to personally thank our federal delegation for all their hard work that they're doing for the state of Oklahoma in Washington, D.C. on behalf of the citizens of our state. Congress awarded this money to the states with the expectation that governors would work with local communities to ensure these dollars were distributed quickly and on target. And I would like to thank the Oklahoma Municipal League and the Association of County Commissioners of Oklahoma who have been coordinating and maintaining a list of reimbursement requests so that we can be prepared for rapid coordination and payment as soon as possible. I'd also like to thank our mayors, our city managers, our city councils, all the county commissioners across the state who we've been working with as a team. They've been working really hard to support their local communities. I've actually got a couple of them up here with me today, so I'd like to turn it over, and I've asked the mayor of Lawton, Oklahoma, Stan Booker, to give some comments from a municipality standpoint. So, Mayor, we'd like to have you come up here and share with us.
All right, thank you, Governor. Thank you very much, Governor. And it's an honor to be here today. And we appreciate the partnership that we have with the state, Governor, and the good communication that we have as well. That's always appreciated as we work towards putting the infrastructure in place for the CARES Act, making it efficient and accountable. Today we met with the Governor and spoke with members of his team about the COVID-19 and the impact on communities and our ability to deliver core services. Probably some of the biggest examples of expenses that we've had has been an increase in overtime related to first responders as well as the expenses for PPE. But another big element in our ability to deliver those core services, especially associated with public safety and health, is the disruption of the retail industry, where we'll receive less sales tax income going forward and the uncertainties associated with that. We also spoke about the state's timeline for processing the CARES Act reimbursements, and I've seen the website and it looks very user-friendly, and I appreciate that. The state has said that they're committed to reviewing our requests and getting funding deployed as quickly as possible, and I can tell you my experience with this, Governor, is things move fast, and I appreciate that, Governor. We're not out of the woods on this COVID-19 thing yet, and it's important that we continue to do the things like wash our hands, that businesses continue to sanitize often and leave the safety protocols in place that have been put in there by the governor and by the municipalities. Another thing is that social distancing thing is very important. And I have to believe that the success that we've had in changing behavior has really made a difference. And I think the chart that I look at most often is on hospitalizations in the state, and they just continue to decline, and we continue to show the rest of the nation how to do it right here in Oklahoma. This virus will continue in our communities, and I look forward to the city of Lawton looks forward to working with the state through the governor concerning new testing methods that will be brought forward, and even in Comanche County, and our hospital is working in a Mayo Clinic trial as we work for new ways to understand plasma therapy, and we're excited about that, being involved with that Mayo Clinic trial. So Governor, thank you for having us here today. Thank you for all you've done. Thank you for your leadership at this crucial time in our state's history. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Cleveland County Commissioner Rod Cleveland.
Thank you, Governor, for having me here today, and the work that you do with the county commissioners. You've done that. One thing that I want to let you guys know, Cleveland County has been one of the hardest hits of all the counties. I guess now we just fall behind Texas County, which I never thought we'd ever fall behind Texas County at anything. But anyway, I appreciate everything that you've done. We are in Cleveland County. We are actually on the uptrend now on our cases of recovery. We're almost to 90% of recovery. We only had 2 additional cases today. So we are coming back, and it's been the help of the citizens of Cleveland County, and also with the governor's office and their work. One thing I would also like to thank is the county commissioners. We do run the courthouse, and with partnership with the Supreme Court. The state Supreme Court has done a very good job making sure that all the district courts have been safe, and people that have to either be there for court for good reasons or bad reasons, we've done everything we could to be safe across the state. But I'd like to thank the governor and his office and his staff has worked very closely with county commissioners and the County Commissioner Association in rolling out the federal money that is available at the state for the local governments, and I appreciate that greatly. And for all my colleagues in the cities and the counties, you were sent a letter from the governor and Mr. Mazie that was explaining the portal and how to get logged in and how to get an account set up. That is very important that we go ahead and get that done, and we start getting that populated with reimbursement requests, so that way we know what we're going to be spending and what is the need is out there. So I appreciate it, Governor.
Thank you, Commissioner Cleveland. Really appreciate it. Love your county. As you know, I grew up in Cleveland County, Norman Tiger. And thank you, Mayor. We love Lawton as well. You're doing a great job down there with your community. And the state of Oklahoma is here to support all of our county commissioners, our municipalities, our mayors, to effectively get these dollars out as quickly as possible. I also want Oklahomans to know that my administration remains committed to strong transparency and accountability in the distribution of all of these CARES Act funds. This past week, we launched a new page on Oklahoma's online checkbook where we will post the latest distributions each day. I'm so proud of our digital transformation team, all those folks that work in that department. When I took office, our old checkbook online was ranked 47th in transparency, and due to the new technology and the stand-up of our online checkbook, we're now ranked number 5th in the nation, which is top 10, which I'm so proud of that team. But our team is also still working to make it more user-friendly, and we'll expand access to the data, which will include information on how money is being distributed and utilized by the local government. So I'm trying to make that very transparent for Oklahomans. You can go look at this by visiting thecheckbook.ok.gov. I've said all along that my first priority was to protect the health and lives of Oklahomans. Number 2 was to mitigate the impacts to Oklahoma's economy and get Oklahomans safely back to work as quickly as possible. I'm so proud of the sacrifice that Oklahomans have done. They've done a fantastic job with this, and the commissioner just kind of gave some of the stats there in Cleveland County. But statewide, I'd like to remind Oklahomans we have 1,060 people with active cases out of 4 million, and we continue to see the trend lines go down. So we are 25 days into our measurably and safely reopening plan, and we're continuing to see the data move in the right direction. But it's no time to take our foot off the gas by no means. We know that we have coronavirus in our state. It's in every state. So we have to continue with the social distancing and taking precautions, but we have to learn how to live with it, and Oklahomans are leading the nation and doing that better than anybody. So these CARES Act dollars will really allow our local municipalities to recover from COVID-19, to help rebuild their economies, allow us to better prepare for the future. So I just wanted Oklahomans to know that we are going to get through this. We are doing a great job, and we are on our way to becoming a top 10 state again. And I'll open it up for a few questions.
Governor, who determines whether or not an expense is reimbursable?
So we've got a team that'll do that, and it's our intent that we're anticipating, if not all, most all expenses that are COVID related to be reimbursable. So we have 1.2 billion. We have that split up between the municipalities, between our state agencies. But we anticipate, we don't know yet exactly. That's why we're setting this portal up right now, how many are going to come in. But from what we've initially kind of targeted, we think we're going to be able to reimburse all COVID related expenses to the municipalities.
You said that's being set up right now. What's the timeline? When could the first dollars go out to the first city?
We expect the first dollars to go out the first week of June. So we want all the municipalities to go into that portal and set up their username to start submitting their request. And we expect that to go out by June 1st. That first batch, we're going to close it on June 10th, I believe. And I've got Secretary Budd here to answer some of those more detailed questions if we need him, and also have Brandy from OMES to get into the weeds if we need to. But we'll do that first batch, and then we'll reassess, and then we'll open it up again. So we didn't want to just piecemeal them out, so we're going to do these in tranches as new expenses come forward.
So cities could not seek reimbursement for lost revenue on sales tax, correct?
That is correct. The federal guidance says this is COVID-related expense. The CARES Act is not for replacing lost sales tax revenue or lost revenue at the state level. It is specifically designed to replenish COVID-related expenses. So new hires, overtime worked, if there's new technology that a municipality had to set up to work from home, anything that's COVID-related on an expense side should be reimbursable. And there's a whole guidance out there that we're encouraging those municipalities to review and make sure that they're submitting the proper documentation to us.
You talked about the trend going the right way with the reopening of Oklahoma. Last 2 nights ago, Monday night and Tuesday, 40 new hospitalizations. Does that say anything about the reopening, or your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we have, right now, I get briefed every single night on, down to the amount of gloves in the hospitals across the state. So we've got a great team. I think we're at 208, at least it was yesterday, in hospitals across the state. So there's 208 people being treated for COVID across the state of Oklahoma. And again, I reminded Oklahomans, it was never to have 0 people in the hospital. It was to prepare for the capacity to make sure that we were prepared with PPE, and we have 4,600 hospital beds. So 208 people across the state is still a downward trend from 560 on March 30th. And again, when we opened on April 24th, when we started our measurable reopening plan with phase 1, it's still down from there. So you might have a small little ups or downs, but the data still looks really good to continue through phase 2.
Do you expect all $1.2 billion to be spent, or do you think you'll have excess?
Or do I think what?
1.2 billion to be spent, or do you think you'll have excess left over?
You know, that's a good question. We hope we can find a way to get the $1.2 billion here in the state of Oklahoma. I've addressed it with every single state agency. We've had meetings with our CFOs at all the different state agencies to make sure that they are thinking through every COVID-related expense. And we've been having meetings with the municipalities, the county commissioners, but we just don't know yet what that looks like till we start getting some input and some actual dollars in and some expense things from the different departments. I know the health department has only spent, I think, 2 or 3% of our money, and that was a major department. So we think the $1.2 billion is going to be able to meet all of our municipalities' needs and the state agency costs to fight COVID.
Can you talk about the TIFIA grants and Gilchrist Expressway, $120 million?
Yes, so we're really excited. You probably saw President Trump tweeted today, congratulating Tulsa on the TIFIA grant for $120 million. That's something we've worked on for a long time, and we cut the ribbon on that Gilchrist Expressway. It's on the western side of Tulsa. That'll be great for that community, and it was a public-private partnership that ODOT and Secretary Gatz have been working on for some time, and it's something that Gatz worked on with the federal delegation, and we got that across the finish line here for Oklahoma.
Governor, I think that you're always popular in terms of trying to have positive employee morale, and I think some people who've worked in health department for a long time and who've been there would say that the building over there isn't necessarily the brightest and best asset of the state. There are a couple bills being in session to look at purchasing a new office building, potentially moving state agencies. Have you been included in on that? Are you part of those discussions? Do you have any guidance on where those discussions stand?
Yeah, one thing I've learned since I've been here as governor is the government's not very good at taking care of buildings. There's a great opportunity in infrastructure around the state of Oklahoma. So we've got a team that we stood up, and some of my team, we wanted to look holistically at our all of our assets, because we had 33,000 Oklahomans working from home in state government over the last couple months. So we think there's a lot of opportunity right now to re-look at how many leases we need, to consolidate some of those spaces, to get rid of some of those buildings that might need some significant capital improvements, to move agencies together. I know we authorized the CLO. We authorized them to go from 3% of their percentage of the corpus that they can use for commercial real estate to 5% this year. So that was something we got across the finish line. So I look to see the CLO to continue to invest in commercial buildings, which will allow some of those old dilapidated buildings and those agencies to move into some of the more modern. Then we can sell some of those assets. So there's a big plan there that John Budd and his team, my COO, are working on to really restructure and look at how we how we have to have office space for our state employees, and I think over the next couple of years you'll see some nice improvements there.
Governor, evictions started again this week across the state. Oklahoma County alone, there's hundreds of them pending. I guess A, do you have any interest in using the health emergency powers to suspend evictions for any longer? And B, if not, do you have any message to Oklahomans who feel like this is too early to start processing evictions?
Well, good question. That's really a judicial issue that we haven't weighed in on, and ultimately I've told our banking departments and told Oklahomans we need to be really cautious at this time when so many people are out of work, and on who you just do a lot of give people the benefit of the doubt. And I think Oklahomans, as a general rule, do that very, very well. So I'm not concerned about Oklahomans taking advantage of it. But this is not, landlords, landlords might be just one person has a duplex. They own a duplex and they've got to pay their rent as well. And so that's not something that my administration is weighing in, especially as our state has safely started to reopen, and we've got, trying to get folks back to work.
Governor, last week you were talking about testing employees at Seaboard Foods in Texas County. Do you know if those results have come back yet and how many tested positive up there?
I do not know. I should get the briefing tonight when I go to the MAC Center. I'll find that out on the testing, exactly how many of those came back positive. But as you know, we sent our health department up there. We wanted to test all 2,000 employees at Seaboard. And we also set up some temporary housing because one of the problems we had out there in those processing plants, I think there's 32 different languages spoke in the processing plant. The communal living that some of the folks are living in are really more the reason that we've had the outbreak there than actually the precautions we've taken in the plants. So it's something that it's happening. Iowa, there's a lot of states that are dealing with this, and we're trying to get our arms around it with contact tracing and also providing some other places for those folks to live as well. But I'll find out tonight exactly how many of those are positive. I do know this. Last week, we had 680 positive cases in the state of Oklahoma, and 45% of those came from Tulsa, from Texas County.
I know that 2 of the nursing home workers tested positive with coronavirus, and it was through contact with workers at Seaboard. And I know that you're trying to test all the nursing homes across the state, and that nursing home was tested twice. Do you know what happened to the results from the first round?
I don't know the specific results on the 2 there in the nursing home that you're talking about.
Just wanted to follow up on Barbara's question about who gets to decide, who gets some of the CARES Act grant funding. So you said you have sort of like a panel. Is that the same group of folks that like some of the legislators are on? Are they helping to decide, or is it a different group?
Yeah, so I think it's a combination. That's why we really set this bipartisan team up. With the legislative advisory committee, so they'll be there in the decision-making process, and then we have different pillars from the different areas. We put that CARES Forward team together. So we've got all the right players on board, and again, it's going to be. We haven't approved any right now, so we're going to get all that data in over the next couple weeks, and then we'll sit down and we'll get those dollars out and like I said before, I think the $1.2 billion will be enough to be able to hit those COVID-related expenses. So I don't think we're going to have to pick and choose between municipalities.
Are you gonna veto a bill that was sent to you that's dealing with changes to the manufacturing sales tax exemption trace on it?
We are reviewing that bill as we speak. That's something that's on. I think I have till tomorrow to either sign or veto that bill, and that's something that we're working through with the House, the Senate, and industry right now.
Do you think it would impact Tulsa's efforts to attract Tesla?
That's certainly one of the considerations on the table, and obviously my administration and the Commerce Department has been working really hard to get Tesla across the board. We're not going to let, regardless of what happens with that bill, Tesla and the package that we put together for them, they're 100% safe. Oklahomans, I'll tell you this, we will honor our commitments. We will never do anything retro that would affect businesses, and if we make a commitment, we'll stick to it as long as I'm governor.
So was this, when you say it's safe, was Tesla offered that exemption and accepted it? Should
Well,
it move here, or what?
There's just a lot of misinformation. The Tesla obviously was offered that exemption in the package that Commerce sent to them, and then even if the bill is signed, Tesla would be safe under the way that we review it.
There's a lot of conflicting information out there about wearing masks out in public. What advice do you have for Oklahomans about that? Should they be wearing a mask when they go to stores and businesses?
Yeah, the CDC guidelines say that wear a mask if you cannot keep your social distancing, but you don't have to wear one if you can keep your social distancing. So to me, that's a personal preference. If you feel safer in a mask, then we definitely encourage you to do that. If you can remain social distance, we don't think you necessarily need to have a mask, but that's a personal preference. I'm going to be very cautious about mandating certain things to Oklahomans. A lot of the I've signed 24 different executive orders. Oklahomans have done a great job of following them, and they've been guidance on how we think we should deal with this pandemic. And again, I'm just so proud of Oklahomans. I've never had to worry about Oklahomans being innovative and social distancing and taking care of their neighbors. That's just who we are in our state, and just so proud of the sacrifices they've done. And on a positive note, with phase 2 reopening, we now some of the youth sports are started back, and so had a great time on Friday night and in the flag football game for my son, and being out there and social distancing with other parents. But it was just great to be out there in the sunshine and seeing the kids run around again. So it's great to see kind of life starting to get back to normal.
One little more thing back on the legislature, Governor. That veto pen probably feels pretty good in your hand, it seems like, right? You've used it a couple times. Can you speak generally to the philosophy behind the things you have chosen to veto? It seems like you're trying to do some things a little different.
Well, again, I was elected to think about things differently. I've never been in politics before, and Oklahomans wanted a business person at the governor's seat. So I work for all 4 million Oklahomans, and not necessarily for the 10,000 insiders around this Capitol. And so every decision I make is going to be to protect the taxpayer, to think about what is best for the next generation, not the next election. How do we become a top 10 state? The vision is the same. We can compete and win against any other state. We can become a top 10 state at everything that we do. And so that's what drives me. So if I see a bill that is not good for the taxpayer, if I see a bill that is not good for becoming top 10, if I see something that grows bureaucracy and doesn't cut red tape and actually creates more committees or more redundancy in state government, then I'm going to veto it. And so, that's just basically how we look at it. I have a whole team that reviews those policy things, and if it doesn't stand up to digitally transforming state government and bringing new technology and thinking about the taxpayer and how much things cost, then I'm not going to be for that. So that's how I think about things. That's why I vetoed some things this year. But again, it's maybe a difference of opinion with some of the members of the House, the Senate, and it is what it is.
Following up on tag agents and tag agencies, do you have plans to maybe get rid of tag agents in the future, or phase out the number of tag agencies that are spread across the state?
Not at all. Tag agents are so important to delivering services, like our Real ID. We're launching Real ID. Tag agencies are important to deliver that. But at the same point, technology, Oklahomans told me that they want to access services electronically. So renewing your tag, for example. Other states, you can do that on your computer or on your cell phone. And so the bill that I vetoed would have moved $1 million from our tax commission, because you're doing it online, and it would have pushed that out to one of our vendors, which is basically one of our wonderful tag agents. It doesn't affect, if you still go to the tag agency, you're going to get the same services. The tag agency is going to make the money on that service. So again, tag agents are integral to how we deliver services, but I'm not going to let just the way we used to do stuff keep us from moving forward with better technology and how other states do it. The other tag agent bill that I vetoed would actually have been more restrictive to remove a bad actor, for example. And so over the last 15 years, the tax commission has removed the licensing of 16 tag agents. It's less than 1/4%. So there is no, it's really a solution looking for a problem. There's no issue here. We love our tag agent friends around the state, had great friends with a bunch of them, but also things change and adapt, and Oklahomans want me to think about the future and how we can deliver services better and digitally, and we want the tag agents to be part of that.
Did you get a chance to have that sit down and find your way to Speaker McCall's office? I think last week we were in here and said we were going to go up there. Did you
You know, I had a great conversation with Speaker McCall last night on the phone. We spoke for about 30 minutes. We've texted this morning. Had a sit down with Representative Wallace yesterday, the Appropriations Chair, and so I think the hard feelings from the budget are, at least from my perspective, are in the past, long gone, and I vetoed the budget. They overrode me, which is their prerogative, and but I keep reminding them they own that budget now, and they've got to explain to Oklahomans whether it was good or bad, and we have a difference of opinion on how that budget is going to end up playing out, and we'll know when we get back in here in December as well, or December will be our Board of Equalization meeting. But anyway, no hard feelings. I have great relationships with the House and the Senate. Been calling a lot of them today, just taking their temperature on some of the bills and et cetera. So, thanks everybody.